Hello, and in the second Week 12 video, I'm going to give you your feedback on the source discussion. This was about Lincoln's speech at Galesburg, Illinois in 1858. This was in the context of the Lincoln-Douglas debates where Lincoln and Stephen Douglas, the Democratic senator for Illinois, were fighting to be senator in the 1858 elections, a fight which eventually Douglas won, but which Lincoln came out of with his reputation enhanced as a leading advocate for the Republican Party, leading him ultimately to being selected as their candidate for the 1860 presidential election. The first question asked, why does he believe the Dred Scott decision is wrong? Well, he basically argues it's unconstitutional despite the Supreme Court ruling in an opposite way to Lincoln's opinion. He says that if you follow the logic through of the argument, it makes sense, but that the premises are wrong. The claim that slavery is affirmed by the Constitution is, Lincoln says, incorrect. There's no reference to slavery it being allowed all through the Union in the Constitution. There's no reference to an inherent right to hold slaves. And he argues essentially that it's a partisan decision. The Supreme Court has ruled that way because that's the way that the election had gone. The Democrats were elected, the Democrats were appointing people to the Supreme Court, and therefore it's a partisan opinion, not a constitutional one. The second question was, what in Lincoln's view is wrong with Douglas's popular sovereignty view on slavery? The terms popular sovereignty are not actually used in this extract, but this is Douglas's position that he's arguing, that he claims he doesn't care whether slavery is voted up or down. He just cares that people should have a right to vote on it. Popular sovereignty meant, in the thorny question of whether the West should be open to slavery, that when people establish a state, that they should get to decide in their state constitution whether it is a slave or a free state. Lincoln rejects this argument, saying Douglas is opening the way up for the extension of slavery nationally. He's basically softening up public opinion by saying, no, I'm not for slavery, I just think people should get to choose. And that if people can choose on whether slavery should be legal, it could potentially be spread throughout the Union, not just into the Western territories, but perhaps even into the Northern free states as well. The final question asked, why is Lincoln skeptical about the need for the US to acquire more territory? We see some continuity here with the previous source on the Mexican War, with the argument made that the US doesn't actually need new territory. This is an argument being made just to defend slavery. Lincoln's argument is that anybody will claim this in order to pursue their own agenda. He's essentially saying it's a self-serving and circular argument. Supporters of slavery want more slavery, so therefore they invent a reason why the US should seize more territory. As he puts it, whoever wants to widen slave fields feels sure that some additional territory is needed as slave territory.